10 Minutes with Wild Wayne Cartwright. Scandals, issues. It's just what society seems to live off of. A lot of it is used as entertainment. People will take somebody's weakness and try and turn it into their own entertainment. Now, we know the way that things work with news cycles. There may be an issue today, and you can wait an hour or maybe a day, and something will come along and replace it. But when we talk about HBCUs, there's a different level of different playing field here when it comes to issues. Now, at certain organizations out here, some of the PWIs, as I should say, if they have problems, sometimes they're able to throw some money at a situation where it goes away. Or they got people that just come out, they just make a statement and they say, hey, you know, this is how it happened. Maybe they tell a lie in their story, or they say just enough to keep you off their back. And eventually they do what they need to do to make the situation go away. But one thing for us is that our issues, they seem to continue to come up because a lot of people don't want to let it go. And I get it. When your school is in the spotlight and there's situations that are going on, people are ready to make some jokes. And when they're making jokes, you want to just go back and bring up their problems to combat them talking about your current problems. All that stuff just is it's unhealthy. It doesn't do any good for the culture. Because one thing that people look at, they tend to lump all HBCUs together. They don't just look at it as Florida A&M. They don't look at it as Fayetteville State or North Carolina Central or Howard. They just look at it as, look at those HBCUs. Or should I say, look at those black folks. Now, what happened yesterday at Florida A&M? My position in this video today is not to simply just say who's right and who's wrong, because there's plenty of talk about that. But my point that I want to say here is that whatever they got going on, whoever's at fault, I just hope they get it right. Now, I know you probably are somebody out there that wants to see them suffer. Maybe because you still sick about your team getting its behind beat on the football field. Or maybe you just don't like just FAMU in general because of the way they talk about themselves, the way they portray themselves. I don't have a problem with them. I used to, but then I started to think, why wouldn't you speak well about your university? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Why wouldn't you have confidence in where you went to school? That's what you're supposed to do. Now, when it comes down to playing the game on the field or on the court, you know, yeah, I want to win just as much as everybody else does. But one thing I don't want to see happen is I don't want to see any of us suffer more than we have to. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to show a few things because it's an example of where we've come from and how far we still need to grow. Now, people, you might remember at Grambling, this situation back in 2013 where players, they boycotted. This stuff was in CNN. This stuff was everywhere. And, you know, at the time I said, wow, this is really embarrassing. People laughed at this stuff. They thought this stuff was so funny. And they wanted to see Grambling suffer. And every once in a while, you'll see somebody bring this up as a joke. Or they'll joke about Grambling with their library. They'll joke about anything here. And then also people who are fans or alums of Bethune-Cookman. Thank goodness they're moving forward from this situation. Because last year, everybody was laughing about what happened with the Ed Reed situation. This rant that he had on Twitter. It was embarrassing. But people thought this was funny. People racked up a lot of views by talking about this. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool then, and it's not cool now. And then also Jackson, the city of Jackson. This was despicable, man, on 60 Minutes. Everybody around thought this was so funny. People also laughed about the water situation. You think that stuff's hilarious, man? And then people laughed at Howard. You know, you saw all the pictures, the guy posing on Facebook, showing all of the money that he had, the stuff that he was driving, the clothes he wore, all this stuff. He stole. It's not funny. Texas Southern. You remember this? The HBCU president fired over alleged fraud. You know, this stuff was very sad, man. It goes on and on. Fort Valley State with the prostitution ring. But yeah, I'm not going to leave out a PWI. No, I'm not going to leave out PWIs. This thing here at Liberty, yeah, I'm not going to elaborate, but just look it up. But my whole point here is that when we get into talking about what's going on at Florida A&M today, we got to really take a good look at where we are as a culture. Yeah, their issues are their issues. So what? If we pulled the cover back on your organization, what would we find? If we really had investigative material go in and look at your university, what would we find? The whole point today is issues are issues. And maybe you just want to see them lose because you might not feel that you guys can beat them when they're at full strength. Well, for me, I just want to see all of us make it. When we get on game day, it's game day. Yeah, I want to beat you, but also I want to be cool with you after. I've got buddies all throughout the HBCU landscape. I see a lot of the trolls. People, you know the names. I'm not going to bring them up. It continues to go on and on and on. Today it's FAMU. Tomorrow it'll be somebody else. This whole thing is cyclical. But at the end of the day, we have to truly be about wellness. And wellness starts with an individual contribution. If you don't like what's going on at your university, there's a way that you go about that. Now, I get it. Sometimes administration, they don't want to hear what the outsiders have to say. Sometimes administration doesn't want to hear what the alumni has to say. And yeah, as alums, we are stakeholders, especially those of us who make donations. We are stakeholders. And yeah, you feel like you need to have a say. In many ways, you should have a say. But you got to also trust that there are people in place who are supposed to be doing the right thing. Where we are in our culture, we got to continue to grow. And if we continue to laugh at each other and we continue to bring up issues like these that I already talked about, it's never going to get any better. Because while we're laughing at ourselves, guess who else is laughing at us from the outside? I don't have to say. So let's just take a step back. Let's evaluate. Let's see where we need to get to. If you're not part of the solution, you definitely cannot be part of the problem. And you also cannot be a person that extends a problem, because we can definitely extend the problem the more we continue to make fun of it. Now, yeah, maybe you got a YouTube platform just like I do. And maybe you care about your views. Maybe you care about being monetized. Maybe just putting all this stuff out here and letting it run as entertainment reels. Maybe this stuff is beneficial to you. That kind of stuff is never going to fly with me. And yeah, I respect everybody's hustle. If that's the way you want to go about it, you go about it. But I'm not down for it. My brothers and sisters at Florida A&M, I hope things get better for you. I truly do. It's just as the same way as I would hope that they would get better for any other HBCU out there. Because that's just the way it is for me. And that's the way it should be for you as well. I'm Wild Wayne Cartwright. That's my 10 minutes. I'll see you soon.